Ahoy Super Squad, welcome to another Personal Stories video, and today I'd like to spin you the tale of how Pokemon Let's Go Eevee managed to recapture some of that old school magic that I've been missing in the Pokemon series for a long time. Like most of you watching this video, I'm sure that Pokemon in some way, shape, or form has had some sort of impact on your interest in video games, and for me, it was no different. It started with Gen 1 because I was just a kid when that game came out and I loved it. I loved Pokemon to death and couldn't stop playing it. But as the years have gone by and as I've gotten older, Pokemon really isn't the thing for me anymore. The last game I completed was Gen 6 and I did like that one, but I couldn't even get through the second island in Gen 7 because it was too slow, too boring, and I lost interest way too fast. And I haven't even tried Pokemon Sword and Shield yet. I have it downloaded on my Switch. I got it around Christmas time, about a month after it came out, and I haven't even bothered to start it, and it's been 5 months since I've had it. When Pokemon Let's Go Eevee came out, it was actually the perfect opportunity to re-experience what made Pokemon so special. I am one of those people. I love the old school Pokemon games more so than I like the current iterations of them. It's a Gen 1 remake. Sign me up. Roast me in the comments for being a Gen 1er. I can take it. So I was excited for it. But what made this particular playthrough interesting is my girlfriend Slice really likes a lot of Pokemon because she likes the characters and the world building aspects and she knows about it, but she's never actually gone through a Pokemon game. I watched Slice go through the game the entire way, every single minute. I helped out a couple of times with the 2-player assist, which I actually thought was a pretty neat feature. So to go through a Pokemon game in today's day and age with someone who's never done one before, it was a really cool and really unique experience. The most interesting thing of her playthrough was definitely how she handled the type charts and type advantages and disadvantages, because I know that I have them all memorized and I take that for granted, but for someone who has no idea how the type chart works, it's really interesting to see how their mind works when they're in the middle of a battle. We actually kept a handwritten type chart throughout the entire game and filled it in whenever Slice learned something new. I don't know if you guys ever did this as a kid during your first Pokemon game or if you remember, but I do remember as a kid writing down, yeah, water is super effective against fire, or grass is super effective against rock. So it was really cool to kind of bring some of that old school mentality into the modern age. At the time of this recording, I'm not actually sure we still have the type chart lying around, but if we do, I'll go ahead and throw it up on your screen right now. We actually put in a surprising amount of effort to make this type chart legitimate because we got some graph paper, we got a ruler, we measured everything out so all of the boxes would be the exact same size and uniform. After every single encounter with a Pokemon trainer where we battled them, we would go ahead and we'd fill in the type chart, and it was a really cool way of doing it. I know I could have told her what's super effective, what's not very effective, and what does normal damage. We could have looked it up online, but I have to say, I miss not knowing how attacks would interact with other Pokemon after watching her go through the game. I gotta say, the type system in Pokemon really is a double-edged sword because there's really nothing like experiencing it and figuring it out for the first time. But once you've done that, it's kinda just what it is. You always know what is the best move, and while that is nice because you can play optimally, it kinda removes the struggle that you can otherwise overcome. It was really cool to see someone going through the game for the first time and really writing it down because it reminded me of what I did in my childhood. Slice's final team for the adventure consisted of Eevee, Raichu, Scyther, Lapras, Marowak, and Dragonite. She did nickname a lot of Pokemon along the way. Raichu was called Pika Pika. Marowak was called Cubers because she, for some reason, read Cubone's name originally as Cubers, so Marowak is now Cubers, and that's just now literally how I think of the Pokemon because she really liked Cubone, so we used him a lot, and once the name Cubers got attached to that evolution line, it is now how I think of that line. Like Marowak and Cubone are both Cubers for me. Along the way, Slice did have some allies that unfortunately didn't make the final cut. She had a Wigglytuff that she called Tough Daddy, a Gyarados that she called Jumbo Shrimp. She did use both the regular form of Ninetales and the Alolan form of Ninetales, so it was cool that Let's Go lets you use both. She had a Vileplume, a Machamp, and she also had a Rapidash. I found it really interesting how Slice put together a super well-balanced team. She had a lot of type coverage. I don't think, now that I read it out loud, that she had any sort of overlap between types. I mean, Eevee's normal, Raichu's electric, Scyther's bug flying, Lapras is water ice, Marowak is ground, and I guess, yeah, there was some overlap because Dragonite is dragon flying, but she put together a really balanced team, so that was really cool to see her do that for her first Pokemon adventure. There were a lot of highlights through the playthrough that I really remember. Finding a Chansey in Mount Moon for the first time and catching it to get that huge boost of experience was super exciting. Slice had a little bit of anxiety when she had to choose between the two fossils in Mount Moon because she was so concerned that she wouldn't be able to get the other Pokemon later on. That was kind of neat to see. I definitely know that I had that same kind of thought back in the day, because when you go through your first Pokemon game, right, you want to see all the Pokemon, you want to catch all the Pokemon, so you never want to lose an opportunity to not get one. Sabrina was a bit of a difficulty spike. It's funny because in the original Gen 1 games, right, Sabrina is so much harder than any other thing in that game. Like, Psychic was such a broken type, and unless you had Twin Needle or Pin Missile, it was very difficult to beat her. She's definitely more tame in Let's Go Eevee, but still kind of a bit of a difficulty spike, especially because with our type chart, weaknesses to Psychic were one of the last things that we filled in. I do think, if I recall correctly, that is about the time she got her Scyther and managed to figure out that Bug is super effective against Psychic. So that was really cool to see Slice overcome that. She really liked the mall in Celadon City, which is great because, in my opinion, Celadon City is the best city along with Saffron. Although I did like Celadon City because of the gambling, which is no longer in Let's Go Eevee. We spent a lot of time in the mall just dressing up Eevee, putting on some sweet sunglasses, some neat hats. I know we played around with the bows. Actually, being able to dress up Eevee and have those little cutscenes with him was actually something that I really liked myself, but I know it was something that Slice really liked because Eevee is her favorite Pokemon. So the fact that you could dress him up or have these cute little cutscenes, that was a really cool thing in our adventure. One thing that I know Slice absolutely hated was the Seafoam Islands. I was expecting that to happen the second we started the game when I realized she was serious about going through it. The Seafoam Islands, compared to anything else, are just so long and tedious with all of the stone pushing puzzles. It was really fascinating to see someone who hasn't really done any sort of video game dungeon that has multiple floors work their way through the mental process of dropping a rock from one of the higher floors to one of the lower floors and having to make that mental map in her head. She stuck with it, overcame the challenges. That was great to see. I know Seafoam Islands isn't my favorite place either, so I'm not surprised that it wasn't an area that she was fond of. She did like Articuno, which is always the highlight of Seafoam Islands. Articuno, by the way, is my favorite of the legendary birds. But yeah, we were pretty happy to get out of that cave as soon as we could. One of the worst changes in Let's Go Eevee, in my opinion, is the removal of Blue as your rival. I actually think that Blue is still the best rival in all of the Pokemon series. I really do. He's that good. And this new rival that you get, I don't even remember his name because it is that forgettable. Like, he's just a terrible rival, probably the weakest in the entire series. But I'll give Slice credit for somewhat redeeming him because she named him Sir Quincy, which, just saying out loud, makes me laugh. I thought that was really funny. Neither of us are a fan of him from what I remember, and we were always happy to take the opportunity to just kind of beat him down and send him back to the Shadow Realm whenever we could. I almost forgot to tell you guys the craziest thing that happened during our playthrough. Slice found her first shiny in Cinnabar Mansion. I hope you guys are ready for a laugh because of how I pronounce this, but she found a shiny Rattata. I know it's Rattata, but for some reason as a kid, I added that extra syllable, and to this day, a grown adult man, I still don't read it right and still call him Rattata, so just bear with me for this story. I'm sorry, guys. But yeah, she found her first shiny, and that was awesome. Unfortunately, it was a Rattata because she's not really a fan of it or its evolved form in Raticate. That was kind of a bummer, but it was really cool to see her find a shiny. I had some jealousy issues for a few weeks because I've never found a shiny Pokemon in all of my playthroughs. I actually did get one from a fossil one time, so that was kind of neat, but I've never actually found one in the wild, so she got one in her first playthrough. That was really, really cool. The Elite Four went great. I was a little bit nervous going into it because it is the final challenge, but she absolutely crushed them. She was solid on all of her type knowledge. Her Pokemon were a few levels over leveled, so that was great. And she just essentially steamrolled right through the whole crew. That's the story of our playthrough with a few highlights thrown in. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Slice was awesome for the playthrough. I know she loved the game. I really loved going through it with her. And yeah, like the title of this video said, just for a little bit of time in my adult life, I was able to reconnect with the Pokemon franchise on a level that I haven't experienced since I was a kid. Nintendo is probably not going to change the formula of the Pokemon franchise anytime soon because it's so successful, and unfortunately, that means that I am unlikely to ever rejoin the ranks of their target audience for this game. But just for a little while, just seeing someone go through the game for the first time, learning what Pokemon are, learning all about the moves and the types and all of that kind of stuff, how the game really works, having a little bit of adversity, which I don't think any experienced player has had in any Pokemon game since their first one, it was just really, really cool. Hit me up in the comments, let me know what you think of Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu. Tell us what you thought about our journey. Tell us about what you thought of our team. I mean, look, it has Eevee, Scyther, Lapras, and Dragonite, so it's automatically a great Gen 1 team because those are awesome Pokemon. And yeah, tell me about the last time that you really felt connected with the Pokemon franchise. So Nintendo, when are we getting that open world MMORPG styled Pokemon game? Thank you so much for watching one of my videos. It really means a lot to me that you're here. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel so we can help the Super Squad grow. I like to make content on game design and Nintendo topics, but I do other stuff too, like tier lists, personal stories, and joy charts. I'm on some social media platforms if you'd like to get to know me better, and the links to them will be in the video description. My name is Super, and like me, I hope you'll have the chance to be super today too.